Last time on Dissecting the Gameplay, we examined the physical challenges in video games. In this episode, we're going to look into the mental challenges, those challenges that put our little grey cells to the test, those challenges we label puzzles. My name is Martin Holland, and you're watching episode 9 of Dissecting the Gameplay.
Founders. There are Avery and 2 sigils. These are a little different, though.
Yeah, they got those star patterns on them.
They turn. But which way? Whoa.
While physical challenges test the player's reaction and precision, the mental challenges test the player's thinking capabilities. Here we don't focus on doing something or doing something fast. Instead, we have to think about what we're going to do.
Look at these stars. They're just like the ones on the Avery and 2 sigils in the other room.
To put it a little more analytically, you could say that physical challenges make us relate to the main character's outward appearance and physical skills, whereas mental challenges make us identify with the main character's inner workings.
Voila.
The player quite simply takes over the main character's brain power, their contemplations,
Mr. Holmes, I'm over here. Come on.
and ruminations. We predominantly find these mental challenges in adventure games and RPG games. They are also known as puzzles because you can compare them with finding pieces of a puzzle and combining these pieces to reveal a larger picture of sorts.
You have indeed suffered a great loss, Mrs. Carey. Nevertheless, I believe it will be less of a burden for you soon.
Once you've combined the puzzle pieces correctly, you move on in the game to a new puzzle, to a new mental challenge. You can divide all puzzles into 3 categories based on how they challenge us mentally and how we have to handle them and solve them.
Don't try to escape or anything. Walt will chew you to bits. Okay, Walt. I'll be back to relieve you at 11.
The first puzzle type focuses on objects that you have to find and use somehow. These puzzles are down to earth and very concrete, and usually there's only one way to solve them. Typically, these object-based puzzles start with you finding the objects by exploring the game world, combing through every nook and cranny. This means that you probably have to open closet doors and drawers and go over the rest of the furniture methodically to gather all kinds of stuff. It could be that you find notes with hints describing how you move on in the game, but often it's more complicated than that.
Watch me flip it right into my pocket. They don't call me the Bone Master for nothing.
We usually have to find objects that we have to pick up and carry around in our inventory, objects that we later on have to combine with other objects so we can move on.
Here, doggy doggy. Here, boy.
For example, inserting batteries into a flashlight so that we can proceed down the dark and scary cellar. Or maybe we have to find a special object to hand over to another character who will then help us move on in the game.
You found the tools. Sweet. You can sit at my desk and fix your camera.
Either way, these objects constitute a metaphorical key that we need to unlock the next section in the game, the next puzzle. It's our job to find this key object and also to find out how to use it.
So?
I can't fix this thing.
The second type of puzzle involves the main character's skills without any object involved.
There! Looks like a path.
passage.
For example, if the main character has to communicate with another character, or maybe act in a certain kind of way so as to make that other character do something or give you something.
Where's the rest of your squad?
We tried to double back to the beacon, but we walked into an ambush. I don't think any of the others... I think I'm the only one left.
Maybe you have to choose the correct line of dialogue.
This isn't your fault, Williams. You couldn't have done anything to save them.
Maybe you have to convince the other character that you're right. Maybe you even have to threaten them to get what you want.
You sold the drugs to Cornell Tyree and Tyrone Lamont.
Oh, I sell fried steaks and black-eyed peas.
In a bunch of detective games, you have to interrogate people to unlock new dialogue options and carry on with your sleuthing.
You're lying, Fleetwood. We know that you supplied them.
I don't know nothing about no drugs. All I do is my 10 hair flipping burgers. Can you prove any different?
A different kind of puzzle skill, which is also applicable to a number of action games, is moving stealthily around. For example, if you have to sneak through a guarded area full of heavily armed opponents who mustn't see you. In order to solve this kind of puzzle, you have to detect the opponent's moving patterns so that you can avoid them. And the scene could also be designed with moving searchlights that create pools of shadow that you have to take into consideration.
Because when a rat bites you, it poisons your blood. You get boils all over, and everyone around you can get it and die too. That's why it's called the bug. That noise, I think it came from over there.
What was that noise?
It's all about careful planning and careful timing. You find the very same kind of tactical thinking in many strategy games. For example, the so-called tower defense games. Here you take on the role of the military commander and you have to pick and choose where to put up your defenses. And once the opponents start attacking, you have to consider how best to upgrade your bases. You never participate in the action and fighting yourself directly. Instead, you rely on your tactical skills. In this third type of puzzle, the key is not an object or the protagonist's skill set. Instead, it's found in the player's ability to think and remember stuff. Here we have the same kind of logical puzzles that could also appear in an IQ test.
I've seen how to solve this now.
So, we're talking everything from math problems and combinatorics to cryptology and then some. These puzzles are not integrated into the video game, neither its characters and objects nor its game world. Instead, these logical puzzles can easily stand on their own and thus be transferred to nearly any other game or another medium.
Look! A metal box.
In one player-centered logical puzzle, you maybe have to press some keys on a machine and figure out the right sequence or combination.
The lock on this box is rather sophisticated.
In another, you have to win a simple game of tic-tac-toe to move on. In yet another logical puzzle, you maybe have to play a kind of memory game. Maybe you have to listen to 5 tones in a piece of music, remember them, and then play them yourself on a piano in the game. A different kind of memory game, but also somewhat similar, is finding your way through a labyrinth, for example a labyrinthine game world. And even if these examples seem to involve objects, characters and areas in the video game, the context doesn't really matter. This kind of puzzle is all about the player's ability to think logically and memorizing stuff. The majority of big mainstream games, the so-called AAA games, mix mental challenges and physical challenges in various ways. This kind of mashup creates a pleasantly varied gameplay with great appeal to a large audience because the gameplay contains a little bit of everything, which is kind of a smart way to do business when the AAA game in fact costs millions to develop. For us players, the mix of different challenges involves us in various ways, making us identify with the main character both physically and mentally. When done right, we also invest ourselves more easily in the game world. As mentioned a couple of times already, the physical and mental challenges provide an excellent starting point in our characterization of the protagonist in any video game, including the protagonist's personal development and physical journey through the game world. These challenges also open up for an analysis of the game mechanics. And we'll get back to those game mechanics in episode 12 of Dissecting the Gameplay. My name is still Martin Holland, and when I'm back we're going to talk more about the game world, more specifically 2D game worlds and 3D game worlds. That's in episode 10 of Dissecting the Gameplay. See you then, and thanks for watching.